What's going on, y'all? Bud Elliott here of the Nolecast. That's Chuck Blunt. That's not Lawrence-Stample. Guys, man, that was depressing. Florida State loses to Clemson. Shoot, what was the final score? Even I watched it.
24-10.
Yeah, 24-10. Gross. And Mike Norvell still the coach and still knows what it looks like.
Do we assume they're just waiting until their bowl eligibility is 0% before they pull the trigger?
We'll see.
Walk through that. Why do we think that would be like the reason? I'm not saying you're wrong.
I think if he gets to a bowl, they're going to keep him. And so until that is exhausted.
Alford's tied to Mike, you think?
Yeah. Until that option is exhausted, they're going to wait. If he beats Tech and NC State, he's going to a bowl, even if he loses in Gainesville. And I think they will. That doesn't justify, but I think that is their preference, given the market and given the cost.
I just think that that's a gross miscalculation of the market.
Oh, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I feel like that's where they're sitting right now, that they would rather they can go, see, it's a 4-game improvement. See, look at the numbers under these new coordinators. They improved. I mean, we all know that's a joke because last year was bottoming out and you can't really compare anything to it. But that's where I sit today. Why they haven't pulled the trigger is because they're waiting until he gets the 7th loss, and then you can go, all right, he's done. Despite the fact he's 3-15 in his last 18 against P4. Like, I think that is what is the holdup is get the 7 losses and we'll pull the trigger. Until then, we'll wait till the end of the season to evaluate the entire body of work.
Yeah. I mean, possibly that would be kind of consistent, I think, with Alford's approach as the AD. Like, not a lot of progressive stuff there. You know, if you look at what Keith Carter did at Ole Miss, right? Like, they were in the middle of stadium and facilities renovations. He's like, stop.
Yep.
Just need to put the money into the on-field product. Like, this whole like facility stuff, that's in the past. It's not that important, right? Like, you know, the Bengals signed free agents and they don't have an indoor facility. They have one now, but like, you know, for the longest time, like guys care about that, right? So if we think Alford is tied to Mike, it makes a lot of sense why Alford doesn't want to pull the trigger. Mm-hmm. If you think they're going to let Alford make the next hire, then I think the bowl game thing doesn't make really any sense at all.
Right.
Just, getting into this Clemson game a little bit, just looking at it, it sucks because our defense, it sucks because everybody's like, oh, well, the defense played, like they still let 25 points. They played as well as you could have asked our defense to play, especially early. Like we genuinely gave the opportunity to the offense to score in order for us to be able to have a little bit less pressure on us. So it sucks, but I was really surprised, one, at how well Tony White was able to get the defense to respond, even in Wake Forest. Like, the defense has been the toughest part of this team, and you would think it would be the most deflated, but especially defense is about like buy-in. Like, you talk about buy-in, like offense is methodical. Offense is going to happen regardless. You got to be able to make. Defense is all about want to. It's all about running to the ball. It's all about the hard stuff. About anything about football is on defense. So having Tony White be able to like pull this back out of these players and be able to create 3 and outs early on the road in Death Valley, like, that was impressive to watch. I was very happy to see it. It's just, how can we allow such a good defensive stand to run and not be able to capitalize on offense? Like, there's honestly no really excuse for it, regardless if it's Norvell, regardless if it's the players. There's no excuse for it, period. Like, no one, it was just, that was deflating. It's deflating. And as a defense, they continue to fight. The defense continued to fight throughout the game.
The last 3
give them an opportunity.
Yeah, the last 3 performances, the defense has held opponents into the bottom quartile in success rate. They've given you a chance in the last 3 games, and to come out of it 1-2 is just unfortunate that the offense continues to be plagued by mistakes. You know, I mean, how many big drops did they have on Saturday night? I mean, there were plenty of opportunities to hit explosive plays, to keep drives alive, to get some points early in that game and change the entire complexion of it. And they just weren't able to execute. And some will say, well, that's not on the coaches, but when it's a constant theme, it is the coaches, right? There's something going on in preparation Monday through Friday that's leading to that lack of focus and a lack of ability to execute the game plan put in front of you. And so that's what's so frustrating. I mean, Gus schemed it up. I mean, I give him credit. He had some really nice plays. He was in his bag with some of those tricks. You know, he had guys running wide open and they would just drop the ball, or it would be, you know, Tommy would just be wildly inaccurate with the throw. So it's frustrating, but it's a running theme, and that's where we can't just say the players got to play better.
Yeah, it's so many. Sorry, but there's a point I really don't want to miss. So there's a lot of people are deciding or talking about how the players made the mistake. It was on the players. And though I do agree to a certain extent, me and you were obviously talking during the game, and I was saying that the Desir twins are making plays. Like, there's certain players that are consistently making plays. I don't understand how that's not happening. But as the game progressed and it became a pattern, is where in my mind I was like, all right, Chuck is definitely on the money there. Because like when it becomes a pattern, even when in my own business, shout out to NLS Cleaning, pressure washing, everything out here in Jacksonville. But when it comes to my own business, when I see a pattern with my guys, I realize it's something with me. It's not my guys, it's me. It's the processes that we have in place. So when I saw that being on a pattern, I was like, okay, this is unfortunately not the players. This is something when it comes to preparation. When I was at Florida State, when we started getting really good, Jimbo took it upon himself to start bringing in like mental, like psychology, all types of guys that came in to help us prepare for the moment. And we would do this like almost like brainwashing type stuff, but like we would look at and watch things in order to help us prepare for the moment. Will you be ready for the moment? I'm telling you, like going into rooms and looking at videos and how you respond to certain videos. I'm telling you, it was like some real futuristic stuff, but it was important for you to know that you're ready for the moment. And it seemed like multiple guys were ready for the moment. So if you want to talk about Norvell not having that as a part of his job, you got to make sure you guys are ready for the moment when it's there.
I also think it's interesting that a lot of guys that seem to step up or the moment wasn't too big for them were actually the guys that were recruited out of high school. It may just be just a fluke, but like the Sear twins are not portal kids. Wayne McCoy had a nice night for the most part, I felt like. But the guys who were making drops, getting penalties, things like that, those for the most part were the 1-year rentals that are on this roster. And it's just it could be a total coincidence, but it does feel like he's getting more production for the first time probably in his entire tenure out of his high school kids. It's this portal class outside of the O-line just hasn't been very good for the second consecutive year.
And Pettis got whipped.
Yeah, and he got a stupid penalty on a hand.
Pettis was the worst player on the team by PFF grade, offense or defense. No, sorry, Jerry Wilson beat him out by 2 points. Excuse me.
Oh, look, another portal guy.
But like, isn't this kind of what we thought this offense would look like going to Clemson preseason, right?
Oh yeah, it's not surprising.
Like, there's no way on God's green earth you can tell me that Mike Norvell really believed that he had a good team on his hands here, right? The plan was, and we said this, and we got a bunch of shit for this in the preseason. The plan was don't get fired, right? Find a way.
We also didn't expect Clemson to be 3-5 going into this game.
Yeah.
But so like back to preseason expectations. You bring in Tommy Castellanos, who can't throw. Okay. You bring in Gus Malzahn's offense, which you know is going to feast and look better than it actually is against bad teams. It's going to be creative at times, but like with these pieces, I think it was a smart move to not get fired. You know, to give a chance to get 7-5 if the schedule was actually going to be as hard as we thought it was. And the problem is the schedule is a lot easier than we thought it was. So 7-5 is really quite a failure now. I think given like how many different teams have fired their coach, and you know Clemson probably would if they could afford the buyout with how bad they look. But like that defense for Clemson did kind of come to play at times, and like most of your stuff you got in them was like really tricked up type stuff, you know, and it just either the throw was off or obviously like the catching element. Jesus, that was rough. But like this is kind of what you would expect, I think, against a good Clemson defense. I thought Florida State was going to score a lot more points because Clemson did not look good on defense like all year. They did kind of come to play on Saturday. Like they didn't want to get punked in their own house. No, excuse me. They actually looked really good against LSU to open the year as well.
Yeah,
it felt like a
they're gonna
similar
have
performance out of their defense, actually.
Yeah, like they kind of like had like, hey, like two, we're going to take it seriously. We know these guys have real athletes. We're not going to get embarrassed, type thing. And then Duke goes in there and drops 45 on them.
And I think based on Dabo's comments in the post game, they were geared up for this game from Monday morning. Like, he was, it always feels good to beat the Noles. Like this was big to them. They cared about this game. You probably can't say that in a lot of their other games they played this year, but they cared about this one.
Should probably thank some sponsors here. Legendary team, of course. Chad does a great job with all of your home loan needs. 844 FSU loan is the number to call. More than 600 Nolecast listeners have decided to make that call. You guys should too. 844 FSU loan. Rates dropping a little bit right now. Maybe a good time to buy a home for you. And also, you kind of commiserate about the Noles here with Chad because, man, he is an absolute die hard. And that was rough, man. All right. So I'm not trying to just be false positive here. Some of the young guys, to y'all's point, are some of the dudes who ended up playing fairly well. And if you could hold on to them, I mean, now my mind is kind of drifting to what is the magnitude of the rebuild, right? Is it a complete teardown roster wise? Obviously, you're going to have to portal pretty heavy. And if I was Mike, I would just completely abandon the high school class and just portal like crazy for the next 2 years. I think you realize the writing's on the wall. Just keep portaling to try to just keep a respectable product so you don't just crater. Because the high school guys you're recruiting right now are not going to help you in your time here. I firmly believe that. You'll be gone.
The high school, the ones they have on roster today, I would try to keep as many as possible for next year.
Yes, 100%. I would agree with that.
I wouldn't focus on the 2026 class, but I think they need to take a lot of these kids that have stepped up in the last few weeks that are from high school ranks. They need to have larger roles next year, and they need to make sure they're brought back, more importantly.
Yeah, KJ Sampson, who I was not high on early in the season. I think he has capabilities, but coming off of the off season, I just don't think he looked all that prepared when it came to the Alabama game. He's flashed the last couple of games. And KJ Sampson, if we can get KJ Sampson to actually be productive like we saw on Saturday, where he had a couple good plays. He made a flash play, but watching him, obviously I typically watch my defensive lineman. He looked good. He looked good. He was handling his own. He was playing with a real wide-eyed, bushy-tailed. He was ready to roll. So I really like what I saw there. And if we can develop guys like that, then yeah, we are much more prone to have a better base. But it's just, it's tough when it comes to trying to prioritize guys that we're bringing in through the portal, as well as guys that we are recruiting from high school, especially if we have to shift towards getting more guys in the portal as we're kind of pushing on this tenure with Norvell. But I do want to make a point about Norvell, and I want to make sure that I'm clear, at least what on my take on Norvell is that this isn't one we've already talked about as far as it not being personal. This is not personal when it comes to not liking Norvell, but what people forget is that this is a really, really difficult job. This is a hard job. Coaching in college football, much less winning in college football, is one of the hardest jobs that you can have in sports, right? College football is one of the best sports in the world. It is extremely difficult, especially when asking to do it in a new era to where now you have shifted the game on its head. The biggest way for you to be able to get a player to do what you want to do is feed them a dream of going to the NFL. That is no longer the spotlight anymore. That is just a byproduct of them doing well. We want to make money now. So that is very difficult to do. But I think what's going on with Norvell and what people feel bad about Norvell is it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. That's okay. In this society that we're living in, it's almost like we're pushing an agenda with Norvell that it's not okay to fail. We're asking this man to do a very difficult job, and we're watching, unfortunately, him fail on a big stage. He has accepted it himself,
but
that he's failing.
I will push back here that failing at FSU should be going 7-5 or 8-4. It shouldn't be going 2-10 or struggling to make a bowl every single year. And that is due to his own choices he made in roster management.
Agreed.
He did not prioritize high school recruiting, but more importantly, he didn't prioritize the closest to the ball players. He did not prioritize the offensive line or the defensive line. He cared about getting skill guys, which don't help you. They are ancillary pieces that help when you have the trench play needed to at least have the floor at FSU. And that's why I don't feel bad for him. He made choices that's why. So it's okay to fail, but he has failed outside of the deviation you would expect at a program like this. You have to really screw up to fail like he has.
100%. But my issue is that no one's accepting that he's failing. That's my issue, is no one's willing to accept it, because we're asking him again to do something that he is doing the best job he can. He's literally said it. He is pouring his heart and soul. He is pushing this program in a direction that he thinks is best, and it is not happening. And he can admit it himself. But the issue is that people aren't accepting it. And I put up something yesterday and I said, if you guys like DJU as much as you like Norvell, DJU would still be the starting quarterback for Florida State, right? Everyone hated DJU, hated him, get him off the field. I never want to see him again. But people love Norvell, even though DJU failed. And it was okay. Get him off the field. We're getting on to the next person. But no one is accepting the fact that we're watching someone fail at a job that is extremely difficult. It's very hard. And I don't want to see him fail, but I just need people to understand that that is what's happening, and that is okay. We have to accept it so that way we can move on. But people aren't accepting it.
What does accepting it look like?
Accepting it is having a collection of people feel the same exact way, but it's still almost torn. Like, I still have people, and I'm still talking to people on a regular basis, that it's like, this wasn't Norvell's fault. Give him more time. He still needs this and that. And as long as that is still the narrative, that's how they feel. That's how Alfred feels.
So you're talking about the excuse making that is being made for why Norvell is in the position he's in, instead of his own decisions have led to it. Because the people who defend Norvell constantly make excuses. He had COVID. He had this. He had that. He got the snub. Mate, what I've never understood is this is very common. G5 coaches come to these big programs and fail every single year.
Correct.
More often than they succeed.
Exactly.
And it's like a lot of the fan base who wants to defend Mike is trying to make excuses for why he did, instead of just going, this is kind of how it typically plays out. It's not a shock.
Somewhat, especially coming from Memphis.
Right.
He hadn't proven it. So it's like he just couldn't do it. And that's okay. That's okay. But again, hopefully he can figure it out to a certain degree. I still really like Norvell, but I've at least accepted what that looks like. Didn't want to derail us going off of this Clemson talk, but I just wanted to kind of make that point that it's all right. Hopefully I caught the eye of someone listening to this.
Do we think you made an interesting point there that, like, you think Alford believes in Norvell? I don't know if I do believe that. Like, I think that's almost insulting to Alford's intelligence at this point.
It's giving him the benefit of the doubt,
because his job might be tied to Norvell's.
Yes.
Like that's self-preservation.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just like the thing with Wisconsin, like they didn't fire Fickle, and I think a lot of people up there believe one of the reasons why is that, like, the AD realized, shoot, if I fire this guy, I'm out too. Yep. Right. And Alford has not been able to get other jobs out there, I don't know if he applied for them or not.
But if UF basketball doesn't win a title, Strickland's probably out along with Napier in Gainesville.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And if Florida had a president or a dean of the law school or a dean of the medical school, and they didn't have a bunch of other
he'd probably still be out
stuff to really, deal with. All right. Speaking of dealing with stuff, you got a lot of issues as a business to deal with. It is hard to run a good business. Just like it's hard to be a college football coach, and Congruity HR Solutions can help you any way you need. All the contact info there, of course, in the show notes. Congruity, HR, payroll, medical insurance, whatever you need to help your business really synergize and have that congruity. Congruity is a great place to help you out with it. What else do we think? I mean, you got Vatek this week. They kind of
line jumped to 13.5. It opened at 10 and went to 13.
I mean, look, Florida State's not an awful team. They're just they're just so far below the standard of what Florida State should be, given all the massive resource edges you have here over the rest of your conference. Like, the Hokies did fire their coach. They do have guys who are clearly sitting out, right? Like one of the only things about that team that was playing well down the stretch was their D line, and now some of those guys are not in it. So I mean, if Tommy's healthy, could you put up like 40 on them potentially? Like they're not good. Not to like jump into the too early preview, but
yeah. I just was a little surprised that they continue to show faith, like in this. I don't know, like.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Like if you look at the stats from the Clemson game, it probably shows like a little more even at times, but not really. You know.
No, the defense put up some decent numbers. The offense was still. We discussed quickly pre-show that statistically it might have been worse than Stanford. It's just Stanford's a way worse team, so that's why it makes it worse.
Like you outgained them.
Yeah.
I mean, Tommy just had a QBR of 38, which of course doesn't account for the drops, right? And I mean, he had his own issues clearly, but like you did outgain them in the game, and you ran more plays than they did.
Through the defense. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, right, exactly. Like I think there's a chance here that the models are seeing like that statistical output, especially some of the models that are going to factor in like PFF stuff, which is like saying the drops, which did happen, but are not always like you can't always impute that going forward. You know, like this team has not been a real dropsy type team this year. There's no real reason to think that like that's not a one-off, really.
Right.
You know,
they're also drastically different home versus road under Norvell. And maybe that's part of it, right? Like we've even seen it this year.
Road stats. That was crazy what you put in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 or the 2 and 12 on or 2 and 13 now on the road as a dog, 10 and 15 overall. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and we're not talking, they're not usually huge dogs on the road.
No, they've been a few times, but I mean, they're 6 and 9 on the road against the spread. I mean, that's not bad.
Right.
Given how drastically different the straight up numbers are.
They just don't seem to find a way to win, you know. More often they're kind of finding a way to lose, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean the Hokies, if you look at FPI, they're like a negative 2 or negative 1.4, you know, FSU's a 10.
Yeah.
So you throw some home field in there, that makes sense. Like you're looking at a team that is Virginia Tech's not a top 80 team in the country. You know, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're more in that like 17 type range.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if Mike was doing his job, I would expect this to be like a 24-point spread.
Yeah. I mean, SP Plus has it 17.5.
Yeah. Right. Like the Hokies are legitimately bad.
Yeah.
I
mean, their projected score is 36-18 according to SP Plus this weekend.
Like I don't have much of a gap between them and Stanford.
I do, but
how much of that is baked in from what they did the first couple games before they fired him? Because like they played South Carolina close, you know, like to me that's really
I docked them hard for Vanderbilt and Old Dominion.
Okay. I'm curious about like what their in conference stuff, you know, like
yeah.
Because to me the South Carolina game's doing a lot of work. So yeah.
I think one of the biggest issues for me is watching, and I'm sure everyone could agree, as far as watching the games themselves are harder to watch because we seem like the better team. Like at least versus Clemson, we look like the better team. I want to say I think maybe Miami is probably one of the only games that I genuinely feel like we just weren't the better team. Like we had no business being on the field with them.
Right.
But I just, execution.
I don't know. I felt like that game against Clemson very much felt like the Miami game, where it was just because
they have better players than you. Yeah.
We gave up 23% havoc rate. And we said that in the preview that while this wasn't a vintage Clemson defense, they do create negative plays in the backfield, which was going to be a critical component of FSU having a chance. So when you give up 23% havoc rate, that's very much like what happened with Miami when Bain and Messidor were blowing stuff up left and right. And it was the type of game where you had early opportunities, didn't take advantage of them, and then some turnovers allowed them to get up a couple scores, and then they just knew you didn't have the horses to keep to make it a game in the second half. Like it felt like the Miami game to me. Just you got beat by a team who was more talented than you.
I didn't. The reason I didn't feel that way because I felt like a big part of our miscues, a big part of our disadvantage was the miscues, as well as no one was able to really ever get in rhythm. Like no one. When there was a completion, then there was an immediate issue on the backside of that. I thought we could have had our way. Sam Singleton looked like he was probably going to have a solid game if we could have kept him a little bit and just pushed him a little bit harder, as well as be able to actually get that big chunk yardage play that he had. Like I just felt like we weren't able to get in rhythm, and if we could have, we would have. There was no point in time that I felt like the Miami game that even if we got in rhythm, we would have been able to score like regularly. Like I never felt that. I genuinely felt during this Clemson game, if we could have been able to actually secure some of those catches and be able to secure that bigger run that we had with Sam, we would have been able to get in rhythm. And even when we did have a chunk play, it was like, all right, what are we going to do to mess this up now? Like I never felt like Miami was in the driver's seat of that game. I didn't, especially with defense being able to respond the way that they did. And everybody's talking about, well, yeah, defense put up 25, whatever on defense. But realistically, if you get turnover after turnover after turnover, what are you expecting from this defense? Clemson is a good program as well. Like they're a solid program. They're going to score. If you put me on the field over and over and over again, that's going to happen. So it's like, I think that is a completely different ball game if we actually execute even 50% more than what we did. That's one thing I don't really agree with. I genuinely think that we could have put ourselves in the driver's seat of that game early and often if we would have executed 25% better. I think we had that game personally.
How many guys playing for FSU do you think would be on scholarship for Clemson? Like on defense, Darryl, yes.
The Twins.
Yeah, but they wouldn't start.
No.
None of the linebackers.
I'd say none of the linebackers.
Rawls wouldn't start for them, and Rawls is your best corner.
I feel like that's even a more reason on why there was no reason for us to have been able to, like, come on, like for that to be the case, and Tony White's still able to get this defense to create 3 and out. You know what I mean? Like, that's disappointing.
No, I think Tony White's a good coach. I think Malzahn is an appropriate hire for your goal of not getting fired. I don't think he's a guy you can go win anything with, like championship-wise, running that offense. But, like, again, this just comes down to not caring about high school recruiting, not putting the effort into it yourself, not demanding that effort of your staff. Like, the people who think that it's just about money are wrong, okay? Money's a big factor. But I know for a fact that there are teams out there who get kids for 60 or 70% of what FSU has to pay for them because their staff actually builds a real relationship with the kid and it makes the kid want to come there.
And they have a concept.
Yes, this happens a lot. Like this makes you an inefficient operation when you have guys on the staff who are like, just go buy the kid, right? Like that. I mean, I think the point here is like I think the hires he made for the most part, I don't know about position coaches. I think those guys are probably, whatever. But like, I think Tony White's a good coach. I do. Like now, granted, there's been some real issues this year. And I think Malzahn is what he is, like kind of a stat stuffer merchant against the really bad teams, and the offense probably gets figured out a little bit against the better teams. But like, it's a hire I would make to try to get back to 7-5 and not get fired. I don't think it's a hire like in my heart of hearts. I don't believe that he's actually, like going to take me anywhere other than not getting fired. I don't know. Yeah, what's the crowd going to be like for Tech? That's not Parents Weekend, right? Is there anything planned for that game?
It's Senior Day.
Well, I don't think people show up for Senior Day on a roster of transfers. That they haven't built that relationship.
That's fair, but it is the last home game of the year, so
it'll be nice weather, like really nice. So
I'll be there for sure. I'll be there. This
game. I mean, it's a great game to take your kids to.
They'll probably win.
Yeah. Can we figure out what beef Tommy has with Squirrel? He refused to throw him a catchable ball. Yeah, they haven't really been able to connect except for that Bama game. I don't know.
What I hear, he has 4 catches on the year. Is that right? I didn't even look it up, but I heard somebody say he's only got like 4 catches on the year.
Does he really?
Squirrel White has
he
has 2 carries and 5 catches for 52 yards.
Whew. Which one was your favorite? Well, I know which one was my favorite. Which one was your second favorite?
I can't remember another catch that was meaningful.
Yeah, man, I don't think the receivers are that bad for this offense. Also, like we talked about this in the preseason, this is not an offense where multiple guys are going to get catches. No. It's just not. Yeah. Like this is an offense that's going to feed the ball to one guy, and everybody else is going to get the ball on screens and trick play type stuff. Yeah, because like you don't have a quarterback who's going to like drop back and read it out. That's not what you signed. It's not what you signed Castellanos to do.
Right.
You know. Anything else we need to talk about? I just feel like I always want to do Nolecast on a Nolecast I would want to listen to, you know, and like I'm fine with them being shorter if we have to, you know, like I was pretty serious. Like if they keep Norvell, I don't really want to do this next year. It just feels like a waste of my time and y'all's and the audiences, you know, like they're not going anywhere.
No, I understand.
So, anything else we need to talk about today?
No, I think I'm ready to turn the page and look forward to Vatek, and we can do the preview in midweek.
Yeah, I think so too. Also, I think what happened this weekend is absolutely like it makes what you're doing this year like completely embarrassing. I mean, like the ACC is so bad.
Yes.
Like, good God.
I mean, the fact that we're talking about whether or not the ACC champ might not be one of the 5 highest ranked champs shows you how bad. This is 2006 level of bad ACC.
Oh, yes. This is that.
I like when you suggested bringing back the Wheel of Destiny for cover 3. Do it. Because that's what it is right now. You have no idea who's going to win.
Do you remember that now?
Oh, yeah. Do you, Niall?
I'm not. I don't know if I'm familiar.
Back when the ACC, like at the end of the Bowden run, with like you know, Bobby was obviously a legend, and he had kind of lost it there for like the last half decade or so. And Clemson wasn't really picking it up yet under Dabo.
But Virginia Tech was kind of dominating the league after coming to the Big East, and it was kind of like, who are they going to play that's got 4 or 5 losses?
Right, and they were even starting to slip like slightly after, like they weren't the Michael Vick level of thing, you know. They would basically have this wheel that like a Price is Right style, like Price is Right style wheel, and it would spin it. It's like ACC wheel of destiny. Like who will win this week? Because it's all completely random. And like everybody sucks.
Oh, that's
it's
hilarious.
like what the Big 12 kind of is, a random number generator, like Fornelli calls it all the time.
That would. That's pretty funny. That's
the fact that we got 6 teams who could win it with 3 weeks left is wild. Or 6 teams who can make it to Charlotte at least.
Oh, man.
We'll see.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's. Well, first of all, we need to tell everybody who's in town this weekend. Go hit up Mattis Social. Go hit up Charlie Park. Man, awesome vibes for a little rooftop at Charlie Park. Like that's going to be fantastic. Like the weather is great. Go enjoy Tallahassee. It's beautiful this time of year. Obviously, Madso Township, all their great supporters from the For the Table Restaurant Group. You guys check them out as well. And we'll see y'all for an in-depth Virginia Tech preview, which should do numbers. All right. We'll see y'all.
Later, y'all.